You have to forgive me. I'm a little bit tired. We are in the process of renovating our home. And I say renovation because there's at least 2 rooms that we've taken down completely to the studs and put new drywall on. I just had some concrete poured about a week ago. Had my ductwork rebuilt, I redid the roof, and we're doing all this home improvement because, like, for the first time in our lives, we're at a place where we can finally do so. It's nothing extravagant, but it is. I tell people that in the home that I live in now, everything good that has happened to me, just about, has happened to me while living in that home. I'm not going to leave there. They will have to pull my dead body out of there one day. I love my home. It is nothing special, nothing fancy, but it's mine. It's nice, and it's suitable to me. How many in here, just show of hands, ever dreamed about having that big old mansion when you were a kid? Now, how many of you in here that thought about that big old mansion got a little bit older and realized somebody was going to have to clean that and decided not to pursue a big old mansion? Yeah. I'm not a super organized person, and if I had a whole mansion, it would look like an episode of Hoarders. It would be bad. Everywhere but the kitchen, right, Kim? Kim's always irritated with me because she says the only room in the house you care about is making sure that the kitchen is organized. Look at your bedroom. And I'm like, it's not just my clothes on the floor there. But I love my home. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about homes. We're going to start off talking about homes. I had a friend of mine, actually it was Dustin Tallman, pastors in Moberly. He was telling me he went on a vacation and he stopped and saw this house in North Carolina. It's the biggest residential home. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. But it's called the Biltmore Mansion. It's Asheville, North Carolina. He went there. He said he saw that, and it was just an amazing thing. He's a home builder as well, and he said that it was a pretty cool thing. Asheville, North Carolina. You can find the largest residential house ever built. It's called the Biltmore Mansion. It was constructed for a man by the name of George Vanderbilt. Some of you that are historians will know that name, but he owned the majority of the railroads in the United States at the time that he built this house. Now, this is not modern technology like you would see today. This house was built in 1889. That's when it was started, was 1889. In order to facilitate such a large project, there was a woodworking factory and a brick kiln built on site, which produced 32,000 bricks a day. A 3-mile railroad spur was constructed to bring materials to the building site. Construction on the main house required the labor of about 1,000 workers and 60 stonemasons. Now, if you know bricklayers, I'm going to tell you there's one guy that's the head of it, and then there's a crew. And so that was 60 stonemasons and their workers of about 1,000 workers. Okay, so now I'm going to put this into perspective here. My house, I believe, is roughly 1,200 square feet. And I've got plenty of room for a family of 4. Are you ready? This house had 178,926 square feet of floor space, and about 135,000 was living area. 135,000 square feet. That's like a shopping mall, okay? And at the time that all of this was being done, at the time of the construction, Vanderbilt himself made extensive trips overseas during that construction time to purchase decor. He returned to North Carolina with thousands of furnishings for his newly built home, including tapestries, hundreds of carpets, prints, linens, and decorative objects dating from the 15th century to the late 19th century. Among the few American-made items were the more practical, like an oak drop-front desk and rocking chairs, a walnut grand piano. I can tell you as a woodworker, if you're talking about walnut lumber, that is very expensive lumber. Okay, so this is a wealthy man. He also had some bronze candlesticks and a wicker wastebasket, for some reason made note in the article. George Vanderbilt opened the opulent estate on Christmas Eve of 1895. So it took a little bit to build this house, but it's a gigantic house. I didn't list it in my notes here, but like the number of guest rooms and the fact that there was like the Biltmore village that wasn't far away where all of the workers lived while they built his house. It was a big, big place. But he opened it to family and friends from across the country who were encouraged to enjoy leisure and country pursuits. At the time when all of this was taking place, it was estimated that Vanderbilt was worth roughly $100 million. And if you would equate that to what it looks like today to be that kind of wealthy, Vanderbilt would have been a billionaire, a multi-billionaire. He was a wealthy man and had a large fortune, and he had a large home to prove that he had some money. Anybody interested in that kind of a house? I am definitely not. I could just see all of the problems and liabilities that would come along with something like that and all the decisions that would have to be made. No way. So he opened this in like 1895, right? Well, in 1914, he passed away on an operating table from an emergency appendectomy. So he had an appendix problem and he died from it. Kind of crazy. He left behind his fortune and this great big sprawling mansion. He was worth at the time of his death roughly $100 million. I said that. So anybody have an estimate on what that family is worth right now? Huh? You would think that there would be investments and that they would be like a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, but they're broke. They have no money at all. Here's the thing. The estate was sold. His wife couldn't keep up with it, so they sold the estate. His children, in roughly one generation, squandered the largest part of his wealth. All of that wealth, that $100 million and everything else, is now in someone else's hands. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine working your entire life, amassing this great fortune and having big stacks of money set next to you as you sit on the throne in your great big sprawling mansion, and then your appendix bursts, you die from that, and all of your big stacks of money and your mansion go to someone else for them to sell it off and squander it. So what you amassed, what you did, is worth what? Nothing. I titled this message. I always have to put a title in when I save it in Word. And so the title that I put on this was A Tale of Two Men. I'm going to talk about myself a little bit here. You know, that's who I know the best. When I was born, I left the hospital in an old Chevy pickup. And I mean an old Chevy pickup. I rode home to a small room in a trailer in Monticello, Missouri. Anybody ever been to Monticello? Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing there. But there was a little driveway that's still there, but the mobile home that I went home to is not even there anymore. Those things aren't made to last a long time. But I moved into this trailer house when I was born, and my mom and my dad. And as I said, I'm living in a double-wide trailer house now. And if I have my way about it, I'll die there. So, yeah, Peggy, we're in that club, ain't we? Woohoo! Yep, exactly. Born in a trailer house, I'm going to die in a trailer house. I don't care. I have never in my life made what people would consider big money. I'm comfortable, but not wealthy. If you go by my house, there are no stonemasons in all of my construction efforts, and I tried to get one to do the basement foundation thing, but he didn't show up either. But there are no stonemasons building my house. And the closet and the closest thing that I have to European decorations is French fries and my couch cushions from the little kids. There is no, if you go down the hill to where my house is, 31476 Old Monticello Road, if you go down there, you will find no sprawling mansion at all. However, we are building what we call the chicken palace in the backyard. So, I mean, there is something. That's what it is, Bob. It's an 8x8 shed. It's a new chicken coop. When I pass away, which is inevitable, it's going to happen someday, my kids are not going to inherit $100 million. They'll be lucky if they get a couple nickels to rub together, and if they get that, it's because they found it next to the French fries and the couch cushions. Kim's worried people are going to come over and lift up our couch cushions. My kids have already inherited something worth a little bit more than $100 million. They have a relationship with Jesus. They have a healthy family dynamic. They have a God-centered home. I want you to understand something today. As we talk about the obscenely wealthy to the regular Joe. I'm building something far more valuable than a wealthy estate and a bulging bank account. Because as I just proved this morning with the story of the Vanderbilts, that ain't worth anything. David, I'm going to steal your line, okay? We were talking the other day sitting at the table, and he said he was reading and prepping for his next sermon, and he said that he came across this line that says, time is the only currency that life accepts. Let me explain that. You can have all kinds of money, but someday you're going to run out of time. You run out of money, you can always figure out a way to get more money. You ain't going to get any more time. So what you do with your time matters. Where you invest yourself matters. Now, George Vanderbilt had railroads and amassed a fortune and built a big business and had a nice house. But none of it matters now. Outside of an interesting story in history, there's not much there. There's no legacy. I want to build a legacy that lasts for generations, where my bloodline is deeply attached to the kingdom of God. I want my children and my grandchildren, whether they live in mansions or they live in trailer houses, I want them to live for God no matter what. When my kids have kids, I want them to communicate the most important message that I've always tried to communicate to them. Build a relationship with God. Invest in the kingdom of God. Nothing else matters. I want them to just be totally in love with Jesus. I have no doubt with my education, my skill set, that I could find jobs and make more money. I could build a bigger house. I could invest in stocks for an uncertain future. I could do all of these things, and none of that's wrong. I just don't want to. I just don't want to. Matthew chapter 16, verse 24 through 26. This is an incredible, it's easy to read, hard to follow. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. If you live for God, it's not always going to be easy and blessings and wonderful and God pouring it out on you. Sometimes you're going to struggle and suffer. You're still going to have real life to deal with. But a life with Jesus is so much better than everything the world has to offer without him. Verse 25, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it. You can prep and do your best to grasp at everything that seems to give you a little bit of security. But in the end, you're going to lose it. The rest of that verse, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? And what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Now, if you have your standard leather-bound Bible at home, you'll realize that these words are pretty clear. They're written in red. They're the words of Jesus. So let me take a few minutes and just make it a little bit clear. It's not wrong to have money, to have a good job. It's not wrong to have nice things, and you can even have European decorations in your home. Here's where it becomes a problem, is when those pursuits fall in front of our pursuit of Jesus. When we don't have enough time to pray or read our Bibles or do those basics, those devotions, those practices, because we work so many hours, then we're working too much. When we can't do anything for the Lord, when we're worried all the time, when we're stressed out, when we can't move and we're just petrified, when our only solace is to go home and flip on the television and just zone out because we just can't take any more for the day, maybe we're doing too much. Maybe when the Bible talks about, come to me all... When you're stressed out and worried, you go to the Lord and He's going to give you rest. Why is it so easy to take these worldly pursuits and put them in front of the Lord? Jesus during His day, people looked at Him when He taught and thought that He was an extremist, and He wasn't. He was just introducing a better way to do things, but people didn't like it because it wasn't the normal. And so maybe I'm hoping today that I'm not going to be labeled as an extremist, but why is it that we can put all of these other things that don't matter in front of the Lord? We can worry about our jobs and what's going to happen there and not be so worried about whether or not we're ready for heaven. We can worry about whether or not our kids are getting good grades, but we're not worried about whether or not they're living for God. Yeah? We're more worried about their social status. We're more worried about our social status than we are about what God thinks about us. And we're so conditioned to follow things that society says. I had a preacher friend tell me when the 2020 election happened, if Donald Trump doesn't get elected, you better go outside and look up because Jesus is coming back soon. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's not the Lord's ambassador. And I'm not trying to be political today, but we put our hope and our trust in so many things that are worldly pursuits that, in all honesty, just don't matter. And I'm guilty of it too. Even as a pastor of a church, there are times that I put my hope and my trust in lots of other things. In reality, if I would just trust in Jesus, if I would put all my eggs in one basket, if you will, if I would invest just totally there and trust Him a little bit more, He's going to take care of me. He's faithful. He's always been faithful. He'll always be faithful. He's never made mistakes. Jesus wants to be first in your life. For real. Not just lip service that we say things on Sunday like, I'm going to put the Lord, but really put Him first. Just take a look at your own life, not your neighbor's today. Just take a look at your own life and realize, where am I at with the Lord? And be honest with yourself. Then ask the question, what price do you have on your spirituality, on your relationship? What would it take to get you to walk away? We all have a price, whether you think so or not. I want to challenge the status quo and the social norms of our day that put school and work and wealth ahead of God. I'm looking at this, I guess you can call it an investment opportunity. It's a retirement fund for preachers, and I've been looking at it for a while. And they tell you when you sign up that depending on your age and your life situation, you can take and you can put some of your money in these aggressive stocks, some of them in these more mild, steady things that earn less, and they tell you to diversify. And that's probably good with financial investing. But when it comes to the Lord and spiritual matters, I think I'm going to take everything that I've got to invest and put it all right here. I'm going to put it all in one basket and put Jesus first. A good friend of mine this year, he recommended a book to me. It was You Are Beloved. The entire book is talking about God's love for us and how we respond to it. Incredible book. The entire book is a reset to traditional Christian values. I believe that we have a tendency to put limits on God's love with the way that we interact with society at times. The author, Bobby Schuller is his name. He's an incredible author. He's a theologian as well, a preacher. He tells the story in the book about playing Monopoly with his grandmother. And incredible story, but he says that every time when he was a kid, she would whip him. She would take him to the bank, win the game every time. And he got sick of it. He got sick of losing, and so he started studying, reading books about it, and learned how to play Monopoly like a champ because he wanted to beat his grandma. He learned all the strategies, all the tricks, all the negotiating tactics, and he was just collecting fake cash and the little plastic buildings and laughing hysterically as he made her pay for all the times that she had beat him. And so that first time after he won, she says, "Okay, Bobby, here's the most important lesson. Put it all back in the box." It's a simple board game, but the lesson is incredible. When the game is over, everything goes back in the box. I don't have a Biltmore Mansion, but I have things at my house that I like. One of the things we're doing right now is we're building an outdoor kitchen, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be so cool. It's everything that I wanted in a kitchen. Do you know what that's going to be worth when I die? Nothing. I think about all the people that are going to come over this summer, big get-togethers in the backyard, slinging burgers and hot dogs and steaks off the grill. It's all I can think about. But when it's all over, it all goes back in the box. It's not wrong to have things and enjoy things. I think it's wrong when we take the pursuit of things and the pursuit of comfort and all of that, and we put that ahead of what the Lord wants for us. When this life is over, this very, very short life, where will your investments be? I'm asking you today to remember that it's all going to go back in the box. I challenge you today to think about anything on this planet that lasts forever. You tell me what you know of on this planet that was here at the beginning of time. Have you seen any, even things that are man-made, that are considered indestructible, eventually are destroyed? Kelly, I just said that word, indestructible. You remember that vacuum salesman that came to your house? My mom and dad were there. That chuckle says you remember. This lady selling these vacuums, a Rainbow or something, said, and this is indestructible aircraft, blah, blah, plastic. And my dad goes, really? Let me see that. She hands it to him, and he says, can I try? And she says, yeah. He goes, snapped it. And she goes, ah. Apparently it came out of their paycheck. My dad felt bad after that. Nothing is indestructible. I found absolutely nothing with the promise of forever outside of Jesus Christ. It seems to me, purely from a logical standpoint, that the only investment that matters is what I can do for Him. If we go to Colossians chapter 3, 23 and 24, I'm reading from the Living Bible. It says, work hard and cheerfully at all that you do, just as though you were working for the Lord and not merely for your masters, remembering that it is the Lord Christ who is going to pay you, giving you your full portion of all He owns. He is the one you are really working for. Only what you do, it's a song that I've heard Trish sing since I was a little kid. Only what you do for Christ will last. Jen, I'm about to close. I want to take a moment and just ask, when you take a look at your life, your interaction with Jesus, your family, is that what you wanted it to be? And if not, how can you start affecting that today? What could you change to invest more in the kingdom? What could you do to let God reign in your life? I have pursued money. I remember, I'm going to kind of tell on myself a little bit. I always thought that I had to have the nice stuff. And I had a hard time with that because I never really cared about the stuff to begin with. It was more about being acceptable to people. But I remember in a pursuit for money, and not just a little bit of money, but a lot of money. And I started this construction gig, and I had a few guys working with me, and T-Bell was working with me as well. And man, we had some times that were just a lot of fun. But I remember one time a conversation in the driveway down at Bishop's house. And he tells me, he says, Phil, the Lord did not call you to be a construction worker. You need to be teaching Bible studies and reaching people, not doing all this. And I said something dumb like, well, the Lord ain't paying my bills right now. And, oh man, I think the Lord showed me where some of my income was coming from after that. But at that time, I spent a lot of my life stressed out because even though you could bid a job and make a good amount of money, you had other people to pay, and there was really just never enough money. And I never did get rich doing that. Then I got sick and realized that all that stuff that I had put my hope and my faith in, I couldn't even really do anymore. I'm glad it happened. You have an opportunity to invest wherever you want to invest. But the only currency that you really have is time. How much time we have left in our account? I don't know. Unfortunately, I can't check that balance. Neither can you. But we can make sure that we take the time that we have and invest where we can and build a legacy that's worth leaving. I may never be rich. May never live in anything better than a trailer house. I don't care. But when I'm done, I want them to look at my kids, my grandkids, and say that Phil Darnell, he was first generation apostolic, but he certainly wasn't the last. If you'll all stand, I want to open up these altars. It's time we take a little bit more of our time and make another investment in the right places. This altar is open. I'm not going to stand in your way. Let's come and talk to the Lord this morning. God, I praise your wonderful name. God, help me, Lord, to make the right investments, to trust in you, to make right decisions, Lord, to follow you with every bit of me, God, to put all of my eggs in one basket. Lord, I don't need anything else except for you. It's not even just Jesus first, it's Jesus only. You are what I want for my life, for my family. God, have your way in me today in Jesus' name.
My God, how great you are. How great you are. My God, how great you are. How great you are. Tell me, what can I do? 'Cause I can't live without you. I can't live without you. Tell me, what can I do? 'Cause I can't live without you. I can't live without you. So tell me, what can I do? 'Cause I can't live without you. I can't live without. So here's my heart, and here's my mind. I give you my soul. I need you to take